Alright, test 1, 2, 3. Okay, test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, very good. So, hello and a very good evening to all the students. Okay. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much, okay, for your effort working out in the morning. All right, with us today, okay, being here with us today in this wonderful morning. So, as we know for today, we have an interesting sharing session. Okay, it's about our monthly IPE series. So, for this month, we bring you a title Job Hunting 101. Okay, and for today's sharing session, we bring you a special guest from Kabel. So, for today's sharing session, we give the students an exposure, okay, the knowledge and skills that you require, okay, when you want to hunt a job. And before that, okay, before we start our sharing session today with Kabel, right, I would like to introduce or give a brief introduction what is Kabel about. Okay, a little bit of Kabel. Okay, Kabel is the first human-to-human job matching app. Okay, that connects the hirers and talent directly. So the missions of the company is that to inspire you to take a greater control of your future by identifying opportunities that aligns with your life goal. So with that, okay, I also have a brief introduction regarding Miss Camelia, our special guest today. She is the founder and also the CEO for Kabel, and she already has been 17 years in recruitment industry. So that she already done with a few thousands of industry placement and looking for the resumes, qualifying candidate in a various job industry that involve healthcare, engineering, finance, and HR. So without further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Camelia on the floor for today's sharing session. Please welcome.
Okay, all right. Today is a very nice day with a very small, cozy group, so we can have a little bit more of an engagement, engaging type of session. So I would really appreciate it if you could help me, cure a bit of the business standing right in front of you by, maybe just ask a few questions to help me warm up as well. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to actually thank Masa for inviting me back today for actually my second session. I did one somewhere sometime earlier in the year, I think in January 2022. And it's my pleasure to be back here again. My previous experience with the students in January was very good. They were very engaging. They were asking a lot of questions. Please go full on use my experience and my knowledge to actually get yourself, into the job, basically hunting. Yeah. So I'd like to thank you again to all of you who actually made it today. I know today is a good day, getting you all to get out of the bed and spending time back with the university is something that you actually took it very seriously. All right. And I'm here because I really wanted to find out ways and how to help you guys actually move or transition to the workspace as smoothly as possible. Because it's seriously very challenging and it's seriously very competitive out there. So I'm not lying to you. Okay? So okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's just start. Okay, before we go on, do you mind actually all of you have got TikTok, right? I'm sure. Can you just go to TikTok, search for Kabel Mind, and look at the first or most recent TikTok that we have just posted yesterday. Look at it. And this is exactly why the reason I'm here today. You see? The one with the play the song then. The most recent video about job hunting. You see it? Okay, if you all see it And to see whether you guys are actually looking at the same video, can you all just maybe like it so I can see that you're looking at the right video? Do you see the same thing? The most recent one with the gentleman looking for a job. Are you seeing that? Okay, what's it telling you? Anybody want to like maybe make a summary out of this TikTok video? Right, this gentleman over here is saying back in the 80s, when you apply for a job, you probably get a response in 2 weeks. Okay? Today, you probably fill in your resume, put up your application, and you may not hear anything back from the employers. Okay, so this is as competitive as it gets. Right. I understand from NASA is that most of you are actually going for internship in January. Is that correct? Can I have a show of hands? Like who is going out in January? Not all of you? Okay, all right. So for those who are not going out in January, maybe later, then you are also at the right place. For those who are actually going out in January, have you all actually have got a resume prepared? Already, yes. Okay, have you all started applying? Not yet. Okay. So urgently, for those who are going out in January, and if you have not found a job, I need to give a push a bit. Can you all please download Kabel? Kabel. I'll explain to you why. Go to your App Store, download Kabel. Kabel. Okay. Now, the concept of this app is about, matching you to the employers directly. Okay, meaning, right, if they actually swipe right back on your profile, you're expected to sell yourself in the form of chatting as a pre-assessment to the employers. You get it? Okay, I explain another way. You all know Tinder, right? Tinder? Raise hands. You're very shy. Yes, thank you, gentlemen. Takkan you alone only use Tinder? Everybody else? No, all busy studying. So what it does is basically the algorithm will match you based on your field of study to the employers who have posted the job. Say for example, if they are hiring an accountant for internship, your profile, if you are studying in that field, will automatically be flowed to them. And if they see your profile and they find it interesting, they will swipe right to you. Means accepted. Means they want to talk to you. Did that concept right, gentlemen? So when they swipe right and they want to talk to you, what do? You have to talk. You have to chat, and that's considered a pre-assessment. So what Kabel is trying to do is to actually shorten your application time so that you don't have to wait search for yourself, right? They can prompt you, or you can open the app on a daily basis, and the app actually gives you some jobs for you to consider. All you need to do is view the job. If it's something that is related to what you study and is also interesting for you, swipe right back. But when you do that, then you have to start to actually communicate and brand yourself. Okay? So that's the whole overall concept of Kabel. Any questions so far? So for those who have not found a job, this is the fastest way of telling you. We have recorded hiring done in 2 weeks. Okay? Hiring done in 2 weeks. So if you're in January, it's a bit last minute already, you want to go through those normal job application. Alright, downloaded already? Those guys who raised their hands just now? Yeah? Because the next step, I'm going to teach you on how to actually input, basically strengthen your profile on Kabel or even on your own resume as well. It applies the same thing. Okay? Right. So again, thank you so much. My name is Camelia, and I'm actually the founder of Kabel. Just like how Sarah has made an introduction. Thank you, Sarah. I have 17 years, actually slightly more than that. It's counting. 17 years of experience in recruitment. So in my field, what I do is that on a daily basis, I see tons of resumes, and with that, I can tell you I only spend 6 seconds of my time looking at the front page of the resume. If it's not interesting, I'll just like next. That's what I do, right? My job here is to actually filter out all the resumes and only shortlist those resumes that caught my eye, and then I read through it. And when I read through it, if I see that it's relevant to the employers, I will then shortlist. Okay? And as a recruiter, after that, after I shortlist, I give a call, I'll speak to the candidate and see whether what you actually put in the resume is coherent somehow with what you have actually written in the resume. Right? And those that I think, okay, can pass, that many I filter out and give it to the hiring manager. So that's my job, and it's what I've been doing for 7 years. So most of the resumes are actually rejected, not passed. Right? And so this is how competitive it is. So today, I'm sending here to actually teach you how to pass those resumes, at least from the front. And then after that, I need to also maybe have another session again, Sarah, for some interview, mock interview to help them strengthen their application and whatnot. Okay, right. Now this is what I'm talking about. Year-on-year basis, do you know that Malaysia has got lots of universities and a lot of graduates that come out on a yearly basis? This figure is actually done in 2019, right? We're talking about on a yearly basis, we have about 300,000 graduates that come out from the universities of all sorts of higher learning institutes, of all sorts of learning. And how many of them are actually unemployed? A lot. So check out the numbers. Okay? So if you don't want to be part of these statistics, actually you already did this first step. So give a round of applause to yourself by being here today. Right? Okay. So my job today is now, when I came, Sarah said, hey, Camelia, you need to get these people to actually, make sure that they apply for a job. That's why I had to be a little bit more forceful to ask them to just download the people. Okay? Okay, now, if you think you're ready, I'm sorry. Who is feeling as confident as this group? That you will get a job anytime that you put up your resume? Step up. Right, what it says, very confident, that's good, game on, but okay, after a while, you will feel that, like that Malay gentleman in the talk video earlier, when you put out your resume, this is what you feel, right? I'm going to get a response. After 2 days, after 2 weeks, after 1 month, after 3 months, still not happening, then what's going to happen? Okay? So let's just reverse that a little bit. Now, this is what I have actually shared with you earlier about Kabel. All you need to do is put up your profile, swipe, match, and check. Okay? So let me show how to actually navigate it. Now, just a little bit of sharing on how the app actually looks like and how it works, yeah? This is assuming it's your profile. Okay? I'm going to teach you how to build this part on the right side. On the left side is actually the line manager's profile. Okay? Meaning that you'll be able to see what position that they're actually hiring, who is this person that you're going to be talking to, okay? The company that is going to be hiring, and then they will tell you why they want you to join them. Okay, so it's the other way around. So if you think that this thing is actually interesting, after you click onto it and see what are the expected jobs that is supposed to be done, just swipe yes, right, or click this, or X to reject. It's very simple to use. Okay? So this is how it looks like. Now, create a profile, discover and click and then check. Okay? Now, let's talk about personal branding right now. Finding a career is a very long journey. Okay? Some of us are very lucky. You already have all these 4 elements that you do right from you. Some of you do not know. But does that mean that you should stop yourself from actually trying to discover what jobs actually suit you? No. The answer is no. Unless you are born in a super rich family that you don't need to work, then that's a different story. But most of us here, including myself, we need to fight for our own, to earn our living. So it's best that you try whatever it is to actually discover these 4 elements. Now, why personal branding is important to you? Now, but before that, okay, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, because with this, you will know what kind of jobs that you will like. Okay, I give you a real example, and that's talking about my own background. Okay? Now, I wanted to do medicine very much when I was young. Okay? But that did not materialize. Why? Because my parents couldn't afford it. Okay, it's very expensive to do that. Well, me and my family, my parents were both technicians, okay, in the semiconductor manufacturing company. Although I really like to do medicine, and the reason why is because I wanted to help other people. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have the skills, I don't have the money to do that. I end up actually picking something which is still relevant to medicine, but not being a doctor. So I end up going to UPM, okay, and I pick up what's called pharmacology. So what it means here is that I study drugs, how medicine is actually being made, and how is it reacting in your body. Okay, so that's one part. So remember, what I really like to do, the heart shape there, is actually helping people. Okay? So I went for the job. I had the skills, no problem. I could do sales. So I end up in a pharmaceutical company. Who knows what pharmaceutical is? You know? Okay, the stuff that you be going through, vaccination. Pfizer? Yes? Pfizer is a pharmaceutical company. Okay? They produce medicine, and so the medicine can actually be used to save people. Okay? So I end up in one of these companies, not Pfizer, but I end up in a sales role. Okay, not because I truly enjoy it, because I actually am a very introverted person. I do really and am really nervous standing here talking to you all. Okay, but because of the stuff that I like to do, and I really know that I have the skills to do that, and people will pay me for it to do that, and the world needs me, right? Means that you guys, students, or job seekers in general need me. This gives me the courage and this gives me the passion to actually stand right in front of you all to tell you what this money is. While I cannot do it for medicine, because I just didn't pass the exam, I didn't have the education fund to do it. Another bucket that I realized that I really like to do is actually, child development. But in this case, you're not a child anymore, you're just more than a child, stepping into really full-on adulthood. Okay? So, but this story of mine, it didn't happen right from day one, because day one, my job was pharmaceutical. I hated the job, but I was doing very well actually. Okay? I hated the job, you know why? As a sales representative who's trying to save the world using the medicine that this company has produced, I literally have to sit right in front of the doctor's room to tell him, hey, use this because this will benefit your patients. For 4 hours, I thought that was a waste of my time, isn't it? Right? And I have to really chase around, to look for my customers. That's really a waste of my time. So I ended up still spending 4 years there trying to find out what is it. Although I hate it, I still bite the bullet, and try to along the way discover what I actually like to do. Is it really that or not? Whereas I do have some friends of mine who very lucky from day one, they really know what they want to do, they're ambitious, they are like point on, they just go straight to this job and then they will just, fly from there. Now this situation actually doesn't happen that often here. Perfect job from day one. Okay? What I'm trying to tell you all is that go try. Even if the job is somewhat aligned to all these four, something that you really love to do, something that you really have the skill. So the skill here is either you have a natural skill or you actually got your skills from your lecturers. They taught you how to do, say, accounting, for example, right? And then find out a place where they actually pay you that well. Okay, pharmaceutical actually paid me very well, guys, as a freshman, right? But I really couldn't handle the job. And that the world actually needs you. So go look for the first job. Don't care what is it. Try first. Bite the bullet. Discover, is it really something that is your reality? Or really is something that I can try to find the best out of that job that I have? Or I'll just find the next one. Okay? That's lesson number one. Try. Just go out there, put yourself out there to try. Now, in order to put yourself out there to try, you must know how to actually brand yourself. Okay? You must know, just do a bit of self-discovery right now, like at this point, right? What you love, what you are good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. Now, understanding yourself, you'll be able to sell yourself better to your business. Right? Okay. Why personal branding? Now, everybody here is different. If you do not brand yourself, nobody will know you. It's as simple as that. In the whole entire world, global population, how many billion people? So why are you so special? Why is it that you need to be treated like a VIP? Why is it that your lecturers need to keep on constantly putting you to understand certain things or making sure that you are here to actually go try to help yourself get a job? Right? So, again, but you all have already one foot here. You are here, so congratulations. Now, personal branding is a way to actually stand out from the crowd. It also allows you to lead you to opportunities, the things that you really like to do. Okay? And you can build your own audience. You know what's your own audience? Your followers. On TikTok, all those followers and all that, those are your audience, right? But ask yourself, I know that maybe some of you got famous TikTok stars here, influencers. But anybody try to want to get into that space, the economy, doing being an influencer and all that? Ada siapa-siapa yang terasa to want to get that ambition? Don't be shy. There's nothing wrong to become a KOL. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But there is a thing that you may want to consider. Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about sway off a little bit. Let's talk about the KOL, the economy, and all that. Now, while all these jobs are actually giving you a lot of flexibility, right, and you really enjoy it, at the end of the day, 4 years down the road, what kind of skills have you actually acquired from them? Is it really that easy to become a KOL and have that as your sustainable job? Because you're not working for a company, you're actually literally an entrepreneur, you're working for yourself, right? Alright, become a KOL, and then you've got to start to invest not just in the good phone, then you've got to start investing in all the lightings and whatnot, correct? Yeah, that's also investment, that's money involved. And then you can imagine everybody in the whole wide world will become a KOL, correct? Because everybody now knows the phone. Yeah? And so that's your competition will be. But some successful KOLs basically have their own audience, yes, because you build from day one about your specialty. Maybe somebody will do fashion, somebody will do makeup, somebody will want to do that, which is totally fine. But unless and otherwise you have a plan for yourself how to grow that business, my suggestion always to the fellow youngsters, the future leaders of our country is that treat that as your complementary income. Complementary, you know what's complementary, right? Have a job where the company actually spends time to train you up, and then at the same time do something that you like, which is maybe being a KOL, just giving that example. Okay? Because why? That's something that you really enjoy and learn, and people really do pretty well. Okay, but try not to actually let go of your corporate job first before you actually make yourself more established in that space. Got it? Okay? Now, personal branding. You need to have an elevator pitch. Now, elevator pitch is very important to build to be in the professional mind, right? Because it defines you for who you are, okay? And it also highlights the experience that is related. What exactly are you looking for, and what can you contribute? Now, for those who have actually gone through some resume designing and writing, you will see that most of the template at the top part of the resume, that will be like, your pitch. What they call is that your summary, your executive summary, correct? Now, this is the one that we're talking about. Okay, it's called an elevator pitch. this is the one that will most likely be, just like I say, right? How much time do I spend when I actually look at the resume and decide whether it's a yes or no? Who can answer that? How much time? I mentioned earlier. Exactly. Who answered that? Wow. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Good. Okay. Yes, it's 6 seconds. And this is exactly where I will look at. So pay attention to this. Okay? So you need to define yourself. You're not going to define yourself not who you are. I am want to try. What will you say in the resume? Try that. Just try. No mark up here. Be a friendly conversation. Mike? Thank you. You're awesome.
Yes. So this is what I do in my can be energetic and passionate individual working towards the diploma in business and Masa Avenue International College, Kalinaya. I aim to use the knowledge of advertising, marketing, human resource management, and product development to satisfy the business needs.
Awesome. Hey, where did you learn that from? Where did you learn that from?
I mean, I make it my
Okay. You actually already hit 3 of this. Did you realize that? Read that one by one again. I ask you to stop and I use that to explain. Okay? Can you read that again slowly, please? Thank you.
I'm an energetic and passionate individual working towards a diploma in business at Masa Avenue International College.
Okay, stop please. Which one of this 1, 2, 3, 4 that they described? Huh? Define you. That's right. So he defined himself super well. Energetic, right? In business and in Masa. Awesome. Okay, next one.
I aim to use the knowledge of advertising, marketing, human resource management, and product development to satisfy the business objective.
Okay, hang on there. Okay, which of this that he just identified? Sorry, guys. Second option, which is the highlight experience that is related, right? Marketing, HR, product development, and one more, sorry, I forgot.
Where are advertising, marketing, human resource management, and product development.
Excellent. So that's how it's actually related. Okay, then next sentence.
To satisfy the business objective.
Business internship. This he also mentioned what he is actually applying for. Yes? Okay? That's it then. There's no more. So that's why I say you hit 3 out of 4. Give this gentleman a round of applause. Very well. Now, how about the last one? What can you possibly contribute to that particular position? Right? I know you mentioned something about relating. Now this is you can actually get this when you read the JD. Okay, and the JD somehow JD, anybody not familiar with JD? Who knows JD? Job description. You all know what is a job description? Yes? When a company publish a job, they will use the JD or a job description to list down what's the objective of hiring this position and the job that is, or rather the task that is actually required for you to do. So if you want to apply for a job, does it not make sense that you try to relate your experience to the job that you are actually trying to apply for? Right? In this case, it's actually business internship, correct? That you're trying to apply for. How would your relevant skills actually be relevant to this? So you could use this part, is that maybe some of the gentlemen over there, have you done projects in the past that is related to advertisement? Yes, you have? You can actually put the experience to put it in here. Okay, that will make a perfect elevator pitch ready. Okay, and this elevator pitch is not just in your CV tower. It's also when you actually walk around, especially during the career fair. This career fair is coming up, right? Sometime end of the month, right? You can use this as your elevator pitch as well. Hello, Camelia. My name is Baba. I am a final year student from here from WhatsApp. Pleasure to meet you. This is what I have been doing. That's it. And you will like stun the HR. I can guarantee you that that will kill you when you don't want to kill us. But if you don't have this, sorry, you're not gonna ace much with this and say I don't need to because everybody will do the same. Okay? Right. Cool. Now, so this is the top part of your resume. Okay? Now I'm going to go into the next part of your resume. There's not much to tell. In a typical resume, we will have those companies and how long you will work for the company and all that, right? But in your case, for stress, so that's not really that important or not so important. What's actually important is that, again, this is part of your personal branding, right? I'm actually referring to the badge because all these badges are in Kabel. So it helps you to kind of like align by giving you those badges and helping you to like select which one actually strikes you more or your strength. So these are actually your strength that you should put either in Kabel, which is a digital resume, or your normal resume as well. Okay? So stuff like, for example, and I know that the use case, some of these use cases are very relevant to you, like for example, networking. Okay, for students who connect friends to mutual groups, for example, inviting friends to Discord servers. Who does that all the time? Inviting friends to Discord servers, starting a group for either discussion, whether the discussion is game, not games related, school, project related, it doesn't matter. Okay, because all these elements here or in the badges in Kabel, it is basically already designed to pull out the desirable skills that corporates will usually want to have from you as their future employee. Okay, so stuff like networking, leadership, if you're actually doing any, or holding any positions, leadership position in an association, put it up, or maybe you are on the needs list, all right, put it up, or even Google Full Master. You'll be surprised, yeah? Now, guys, you really need to know what your strengths are as youth. Do you all know what you all have, what kind of power you all have? When you step into the corporate and organization, you all don't realize that, right? Yeah? You guys are called the digital natives. You know what digital natives mean? Means it's really innate in you all. You all like born how to like play around with the iPad, phone, and all that. You give the phone to people of my age with 20 years experience. Actually, I'm older than that. I'm already in my mid-40s. Yeah? We struggle a lot. Try to give us a Google link. We struggle. Alright? Try to give us multiple, what do you call that? Zoom is called a virtual conference, right? Ask me to jump from a Zoom to a Google Meet to a Discord. I struggle big time. But I do see, because I do employ a lot of fresh graduates in our organization, I see that they are able to adapt one to another very well. Okay? Now here's the difference. Knowing yourself and your capabilities and able to actually share out this strength that you have and teach the older generation or the seniors in the corporate is something that most of you do not do very well, at least in Malaysia. Because you're quiet, I don't know, introverted, not confident, I'm not sure. But there will be in that whole particular group somebody who's more, outstanding. They don't mind, they say, hey, how I teach you this, how I teach you how to actually set up your Google Meet, how I teach you how to actually use links and all that, use, Google Forms and all that. It's amazing because it makes my life as the, superior, so-called, in the organization, makes my life and the work so much easier. So you all got to realize that it's a very important tool to have these digital capabilities of yours, including this one, Google Food. You know how I learn? I read. By the time I finish reading, right? The youngsters in my office, 30, I would call maybe 3 minutes. They finish learning in the YouTube already. They can summarize everything for me. So that's basically your strength. So make sure that you highlight all this, although you don't know. Maybe you can start off with comparing yourself to your parents, for example. I imagine your parents are like my age now. I think so, right? You try and test them and see what are stuff that they don't know how to do or what. Or another way is that you can just search up application of application of Discord in business, application of YouTube in business, application of social media in business. And you will see when you read or when you actually go through, those kind of things are actually relating to you. Those kind of things are not relating to me, I don't know how to do that, right? So you can use those to actually highlight the skills in your resume to help businesses digitalize, to help them accelerate their business. The word digitalize is like, wow, if people hear it, I'm sure you get it. Okay, so pick that as one of your professional badges. I believe all of you will already have that. Okay? Okay so far? Okay. Earlier, 2 slides, I was teaching you all on how to actually do personal branding, right? Personal branding, you do only on one, which is Kabel, Code. All right? And along the whole time of the 30 years of your working experience, you need to be existent in some of these small corporate related platforms. Okay? So which includes using your resume. Your resume is not going to stay static for the rest of your life, okay? Every year, please make sure that you also polish up the resume along the way. Don't wait until you're actually looking for a job, then only you single one to polish by the time you forget. So it's called journaling, but in the resume. So same goes for Kabel as well. On Kabel, there's a section where you say, record all your past work experience. So you can straight away go into the app, update your past experience, and then move along as you go. Don't wait until last minute, right? Who here has got a LinkedIn profile? Okay, awesome. Now, LinkedIn is a space where a lot of corporate recruiters actually hunt for people. Although I must say that LinkedIn has gone to like a little bit more on the social media, personal branding kind of approach, but we still have a huge population there. What I normally do with LinkedIn as a recruiter, now I've been sharing from my experience, right? When I see the CV, I take a look at your elevator page, remember elevator page, the top. I go to LinkedIn, I check whether you are existent in the portal, and then I start to compare whether what you say in LinkedIn and what you say in the resume is actually the same thing. There's a lot of spam going around SaaS, right? So I use that in that aspect, and maybe sometimes I can pick up some things like how engaging you are in building your audience. Just now I talked about why personal branding, right? And building your audience. So if you go and check me out on my LinkedIn, I speak a lot about Gen Z hiring or recruitment issues. So anybody out there who is in the corporate world, they want to know who Camelia is, they just need to go and check it out. They will know what I do without even saying hello to me. Okay? Yeah, so that's important along the way. Okay? Other networking platforms, you could look for it. Those are smaller ones. If some of you have got personal website, I think some of the creative students, right, they have their own personal website to put up all their creative works, right? So you can actually use that link to put in your resume when you actually sign up. So it's easier for them to just go through, the quality of the work. You can choose to also do posts, articles, and blogs. on LinkedIn mostly, again, to draw the type of audience that are drawn to your work, right? And then speaking events, if you already have got the appetite, places like uh, TEDx or something like that will be a good place for you all to actually start to actually build your audience. And last but not least, reference and testimonials. Now, this is not part of the resume. This is where you can actually start to brand yourself. Okay? However, I wanted to actually highlight on this. On your resume, it's very good that you can have somebody as your reference and testimonials. If you have actually done any of the informal internship or part-time jobs while you're studying, that will be actually a very good reference point. Go and ask them, but you have to ask permission because really I call them in. As a recruiter, I do call the referees, to check out like, hey, how's that gentleman, was he punctual at work, was he hardworking, was he correct? So this, if you have a good track record in your work and whatnot, it's always good to put it here. Second choice would be probably, maybe you can ask your lecturers if they can also testify for you as well. It's always good to complete your resume with testimonials, with reference. Alright? Okay, the point here is that for all those work partners, you don't have to introduce yourself. So people already know who and what you do. Okay? Okay. Now, the next part of it is, resume writing is one part of it to make sure that you're always, staying competitive. The next part of it is actually networking. Do you all know that 85% of the jobs out there are actually gotten through somebody that you know, whether it's mother, father, through your lecturers, through your auntie, uncle, through friends, through people like me, right, who has got contacts with a lot of corporate organizations. But you got to get out from your comfort zone to start to talk to people. And when you talk to people, remember your elevator pitch. Okay, like right now, I don't know any of you, but that gentleman, because he did an excellent job in the elevator pitch, right? And I'm going to remember him in this session. Right? So you got to get that sorted out before you go out for your networking. These are some forms of networking that you can do. Your own network, if your network, maybe you have got your sibling, elder sibling who's currently already working in some companies, you can start from there, try to, crash the party and go and make friends with them. Because what happens is that if they like you, they probably going to recommend you to their HR or to their boss to join. I remember my first job, right? As that sales rep in the pharmaceutical company, I had strangers coming to my home to ask me how is it like working with that company. I thought that was a little bit intrusive, but at the end of the day, after the chat, I realized that people actually want to compete, or rather want to actually stay competitive to get a job to that extent, right? And that's networking. So he got to know me from another friend or something like that, and then made the appointment to come to my home to talk about the job. And eventually, I did recommend him to my boss, and he got the job, and he flew hired after that. Okay, so that's basically your own network, and then recruiters, so people like myself, will be a good contact. Job fairs, so attend the job fairs if you have a chance to, with an elevator pitch. Don't go there blindly and collect goodie bags from the Don't do that. LinkedIn social network. Okay, so LinkedIn is a social media, so how to network, right? Okay, you know that people like to write a lot of blogs and stuff like that. So if the blogs are something that is related to what you do, or maybe you want to apply for the job in that particular company that the person is working in, comment. Comment will always get an eyeball or a view from the writer. And if your comments are good enough, interesting enough, you will get the attention from the person, and you can try to actually do a PM, right? To ask for this favor, like if you do have a job for this field, again, your elevator pitch, right? It's important. Just copy and paste the whole thing and put into the PM, and then let it go. Okay? Networking events or groups, I'm not sure if that exists now, but some other networking groups that I know that are still quite active is probably Toastmasters. Toastmasters, you all know Toastmasters? Toastmaster. Okay? Anyway, their debate group, all of them check up in English like super terror. Okay? So anyway, they organize all this get together, trying to bring up the or maintain the quality of the English as a first language and stuff like that. Most of the members there are very well-established professionals of all sorts of different levels, whether they are seniors or whether they are juniors. So if you have a chance to actually go join the Toastmaster, just go and then start networking from there. That would be a decent group to do. Webinars and talks, example today or in any of those career-related, kind of webinars, usually there will be people who are hiring. Or you can also target companies. How many of you actually use the approach of target companies? I'm very curious. Targeting companies means you already know what sort of companies that you want to work for, and then you literally hunt them down. Got one? Don't have. Not you, so? No? Okay. If you can do this, I'm going to pick up your resume, I'm going to send you somewhere immediately. Right? And that's because this means that you are super well prepared and you have done all your homework about the company and why the company is so interesting for you. Most of the time, you'll be linked to your own personal value, right? Like some people want to join World Vision, for example, is because they really want to help people out, right? So these will be the ones that if I send the resume over, surely we can join. But a lot of work to research about the company, research about the job, research about people who work there. It's very easy to do research now because of LinkedIn. LinkedIn will throw, okay, example, right? If you want to go and join Kabel, you look at Kabel, you start to look at all the, you got to explore LinkedIn a bit. I know it's a little bit too, maybe just the beginning part. But LinkedIn gives you an idea how many people are there in an organization, what kind of people that usually they will take in for their organization, right? And for example, why I'm reading people is that if you go into my company profile, you'll see that people who are working in Kabel, they are all fresh grads. Most of them are fresh grads. So then you will know you have a chance, right? Right. Yeah? So that gives you an idea. It tells you a lot of information about a company, whether it is actually a very obvious one or not obvious one, right? The easy to see right, or obvious right. Okay. Right. So now you have already gotten your resume up, your personal branding up, your elevator pitch up. You have your piece, and you're going all around to do networking. Networking. After you network, you already got the contacts, business cards. Okay, get the business cards if there is, or any email. Sometimes LinkedIn has got the emails, so you got to go and source for it. Now, what do? Right? This is the process of job application. Okay, so again, resume is up already. Now, just now I spoke about research about the job key, objective and challenges and whatnot from the JD. JD will usually tell you what is the main purpose of hiring that position. And don't be fooled by the title. Sometimes they call it visual branding executive, right? But when you actually look at the job description, sometimes it's a sales job. So whether, and nothing wrong with the sales job, is whether it's for you or not for you. Okay, so don't just scan through the title only. You have to look through the JD as well. The JD will give you an idea why they are actually hiring me for this position, what you're supposed to do. Most of the time, they won't tell you things like, for example, what do you need to do to actually achieve or be an achiever in that role. That one you have to ask during the interview, or in Kabel, you can actually start asking already because you're checking, right? So the whole idea of Kabel is to actually pre-assess all those jobs or all those bosses or all those job seekers as fast as possible so things can happen very fast. Okay? Now, this one will give you also a very good idea about what the company actually does. So to go through vision, product services, and the latest news. The funny thing is that, right, some candidates go and apply for a job that actually sells fertilizer, but they thought that they're actually selling animal feed. that actually reflects quite bad on you, isn't it? So you got to actually look through the website, whether you like it or not, read through. Okay, that will give you an idea. Then after that, if you already know who is the recruiter or the manager who is going to be interviewing you, use LinkedIn again, right? Go and check this person out. Who is this person? Okay. Now, I'll give you an example of a interview objective if the interviewer is a HR. Okay, most likely HR will ask you quite general questions and see whether you could actually fit into the culture, how the company operates. Okay, like for example, if the company is not operating in a very structured, process-driven environment, if they sense that you need to be having structure, you need to have bosses maybe push you all the time, that kind of thing, they will disqualify you. So those kind of questions are mostly from HR, more of cultural fit, more of like whether I could retain you, more like if your values are actually aligned to the company, because I need to see whether you actually love selling fertilizer or you actually like animal feed. Okay, so those kind of things are usually asked by HR. Now, how do you know HR or is it actually a line manager? Line manager means the boss who is actually hiring. So the boss may be is not an HR. You actually know what's the difference between HR and line manager. Human resources manager actually takes care of all the basically employees' needs and whatnot in an organization. Line manager is the one that is executing the role. So they are in departments, right? Sometimes you have finance manager. Finance manager is the line manager to finance exec, accountants. Yes. Then you will have sales manager. Under the sales manager is a sales exec, which is the role that you can apply for. So sales manager is the line manager. So line manager's interview is very different from HR's interview. Okay, line manager's interview is more strict to the job. Like, how do you think that you can build build rapport with this potential stakeholder or potential clients? Okay, so their questions are more related to hard skills as compared to HR. HR is more soft skills. This is that. Okay? Got it? Am I going too fast? No? Great. Now, getting the inside scoop of the job is also very important to see whether it actually matches your personal goals. Okay? Now, in order to get inside scoop, this is something that is going to be reflecting on the JD. JD gives you a very general view. You know, sometimes when you go for interview and then some interviewers ask you, right, so do you have any questions? What do you normally do? You keep quiet or you actually go there prepared with question? Right? The more outstanding one will actually prepare for the question. Okay? And if you have got no idea what question that you want to ask, even after you read up the company website, use this. Okay? Use this trick. What is the major objective for this challenging job? What does the person need to do to be successful? Or what needs to be done as soon as possible? Now this gives a very good impression of the job seeker or the interviewee that you are actually very interested in the job. That gives you the impression. Correct? Yeah? And it also gives you another form of basically qualifying whether that job is actually good enough for you, or whether it's actually something that you like to do, or something that you can even achieve. If the job actually requires you to do bungee jumping, and you cannot do bungee jumping for whatever reason, you know that you're not going to be successful for the role, then please don't take it now. Right? But it's something that you are more or less can do. Remember the first part I say, try first, and then you find out whether you like it or not. Now, this is also the part that you scoop up. Inside scoop means, stuff that is not readily available, information that is not readily available just in front. It's something that you need to think out. So this will be a very good guide for you to see whether you need to even try, or I know I'm going to ace this job already, I am so used to doing this already because I've done it before. Or bungee jumping really cannot. I may love the job or whatsoever, but I'm afraid of heights. I really cannot. Okay? But anyhow, even in the interview, whether it's uh, moving the right way, not moving the right way, it's always good to actually prepare with good questions when you go for an interview that gives you a good impression. Maybe it could be you're not ready for this role at this point in time, but there are some other roles that you can actually forward or recommend you to, or maybe in the future they will call you back. So always leave a good impression. Never burn the bridge when you go for any job application. Okay? Now let's go to interview tips. Now I'm projecting Kabel again because Kabel is actually, already put in all the necessary questions that is relevant to an interview. So if you've got no idea again on like what sort of questions to ask, you can just launch the button there and just pick one of those questions so that the interviewer can start answering you on this. Right? Right? Okay, so some tips here. When you are actually checking on Kabel or at a face-to-face interview, always use your elevator pitch. Okay? And then use examples to relate your work experience to the job, which is already part of the elevator pitch, but you may want to elaborate some more. Right? So just now you mentioned about advertising, product development, business. Okay, something that I really remember because it's not my head that way. I would then ask you, okay, gentlemen, can you share with me what kind of experience that when you say, you have skills in advertising, what have you done in the past? Then you can use that as a further conversation to make the interview more interesting. It's more two-way. Now talking about two-way, point number 3, a healthy conversation when you are actually, doing an interview is that 60% of the time you are talking, not them. Okay, not the interviewer, you are talking, because when you're talking, they're evaluating you. But once in a while, you still want to inject some questions to be sure that you are still along the line. Right? Sometimes the fellow was talking about bungee jumping, but you think that he's talking about diving, and then you talk about diving, but he's not there at bungee jumping. So questions sometimes will be very useful to navigate you along the way for a good interview outcome. Okay? Show interest. Now, interest here, besides asking smart questions, there's also another way of showing interest is that through your body language. We can tell. We can tell. Stuff like if you're seated down in chair across. It's not China, it's probably that kind of chair. So if you're sit up so straight, if I'm answering some people and I'm punching like that, what kind of impression am I giving people? Okay. Can you tell? I'm sitting up so straight and I'm like, I don't even dare to move. Nervous, right? Right? So not the best expression to give because we want to appear confident. Now another way is that chillax. Not so good, so right? And it just really didn't show engagement. Okay? Or you are folding your arms like this. I'm not saying you, but stay on during the interview, right? It just gives a very different impression, like protect something. Okay? Or shaking your leg. It's fine now. You're not attending an interview, it's fine, right? So that's just basically, not giving respect or attention to the or to the interview at all. Okay? So a better position would be basically more a little bit in between. I mean, it should be relaxed, right? And it should appear that you have, the shoulders are broad, the chest are up, and that you can speak actually breathe well and go slow. Pacing is actually very important when you go for an interview. Don't talk so fast. It's not that even there was good. You went slow, the pace was right. Sometimes you can use your volume. So see when I do this, you tend to want to hear more. Or you think that I want to talk more? Yeah? So all these are not written kind of rules, but it's a very indirect way and recruiters do see that as well. Okay? Next thing is that what you wear is also very important. Okay? You don't want to be you okay. The whole purpose of the interview is to make sure they pay attention to what you say, isn't it? You susah payah want to do your personal branding and all that, finally you get into the door and then after that, they look at other things. Look at your beautiful hairclip, look at your shirt which is maybe not buttoned, accordingly, right, and all that. So don't do that. A safe bet would be, okay, nowadays, they need to wear tie or not? Not question. This seems to be a very popular question. Need to wear tie? Need to? Actually, there's no right or wrong to wear tie, but the norm now is that nobody wears tie. Alright? Go with a solid color, no check shirts for sure. Stripes like this is fine, that's professional. No t-shirts, even though if the jobs are maybe programming jobs or something like that, right? Very typical you see in all those Silicon Valley programmers and all that, they always sometimes and they're wearing t-shirt and all that, but that's not a very good example to have for this kind of meeting. Alright? For ladies, nothing too over punching neckline, nothing too flowery. Okay? Make sure that your skirt is not way above the knee. It's good to have it just above the knee, it's good. Right? Whether the guys could actually wear sneakers or sport shoes, I think it's fine as long as you have your solid shirt color, pants, trousers, with the sport shoes. I think it's fine because it's already acceptable that most of the people go to work with LRT, right? So you got to walk quite a bit. For ladies, don't put on your makeup. There's no point, right? Then they will look at your heavy lashes, but not what you speak. So, but you need to look fresh. Okay, so a little bit slight tint will do, and make sure that you get enough rest the day before. Okay, all right. Yeah, so keep it professional. Don't get personal, and be respectful. Any questions from here? This one is, I think, is repetition. If you want to take a picture of this, you want to read it up later. It's a repetition of what I just said earlier. Don't ghost. I was talking about trying not to actually burn the bridge. In the bridge, you don't like her or that girl don't like you, they do to you, then you just, slam the door on them. Never do that, yeah, because the corporate world is actually very small, right? So you want to also always remain very good relationship or at least keep the door open in case next time you want to return and go back again, okay? What it means here, don't ghost, is that importantly, if you already gotten a job somewhere else, okay, you need to let people know. Even though if you are just at the prelim stage of the interview, it's good to always tell people that, thank you for your time, I've gotten, myself another job, so we will keep in touch in the near future. Okay, just organize that, make sure that you go back to all the interviewers, and I can assure you they will remember your action here. Okay, because most of the time we get ghosted. Okay, star method. I think this one is perhaps not very relevant to you all. You will just look at that. Now, managing job search. Okay. How many of you actually tried to apply for more than 5 jobs? Not yet. 6 jobs, no. 2 jobs, 3 jobs. If 1 or 2 jobs, then maybe this one not so relevant, but there are people who actually go out there and try to apply for different jobs. And by the time that you apply for your 5th one, you forgot where you actually applied for already. So you got to make sure that you write down where you applied to, what position that you actually applied for, and if you manage to speak to anybody within the organization, just write it down. Okay, because you will not know, right? The trend or the rate that the recruiters sometimes they come back to you is possibly 3 months down the road. You really will forget that already. So it's good to have like a black book or something like that, right? To keep yourself organized. Okay, so what we have just covered is job hunting starter pack, right? Within this month, 4 circles, actually there's a lot more stuff that we can talk about, but perhaps some other time. So start with personal branding, networking, job application, and then managing this job search. Okay, so this is what we have actually gone through today. Now, if you okay, I took this, you remember this movie? Okay, I find it so hilarious. So anyway, Benjamin Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And we don't want that for all of you. You all have actually studied so hard to come to where you are right now, and it's at a turning point that you need to go into the next phase of your life. You better do your planning better. Okay? And don't get stuck in some place where I am so unhappy, it's destroying my mental health and all that, and then being stuck there with what to do and being helpless. There's always, places for you to actually ask for help. For example, you can always try to look out for me on LinkedIn. Okay, connect with me and say if you need help or certain ways, I will respond to you. Or I'm quite sure that your university group services, will be able to assist you in any way. But whatever it is, try to ask for help if you think that you're already stuck somewhere. Okay, there's no judging here. Everybody goes through this cycle. Okay, so these are some of the testimonials of what employers are actually looking for, and these are real people. So if you can see, most of them actually say that your degree or the field of study that you have, your certs, are a given. Most of the people out here now, they already have got some certifications. What is actually outstanding is about your other skills, your more soft skills, the stuff that you actually do on top of your studies, right? Your association, your networking, things that you do like that is actually equally as important as well. Okay, so your certs actually give you a big chance for you to enter the door, but that alone, my friends say, is not enough. Okay, you will do some other stuff. For example, your interning, yes, for those who are actually going out for internship, better treat your interns with your internship period more seriously. Yeah, don't go there blindly and think that you're just checking in like 8:30 and then 5:30 you're just can't wait to get out. Because otherwise, after you completed your 3 months, 3 months, right, your internship, 3 months, right, you come out empty-handed, you got nothing to write on your resume, isn't it? Correct? By that time, Jacqueline, I think your personal branding will be, your elevator pitch will be more impactful. Correct? Yeah? So you want to make sure that you're able to write something on your elevator pitch the next time after you come up with it, after your internship. Okay? So besides internship, if you're doing voluntary works and stuff like that, it would be good too. Somebody actually mentioned LinkedIn branding is good. You're a parent, right? Good strategy to get yourself stand out amongst the other people. So that one is a typical one who will check. Yeah. Good grades. Sun says good grades. It's also important. Okay? This is just showing some of the companies we have more right now. Today, we have already gotten 600 plus, 612 companies that is actually recruiting on Kabel itself. So it's right? And yeah, so don't let the opportunity pass you by. Make sure that you're actually ready. Okay, whenever you can. So this brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope I have actually been helpful in your job hunting. Like I mentioned, this is only a 1.5 hour session. There's actually a lot more that we can do sharing. Perhaps, we maybe in the future we will arrange for another round of session to look into each of the sectors that I mentioned earlier. But anyhow, if you guys need any help, like I say, go to LinkedIn, connect with me, and that's where you will get me very easily. Or, no, this is not my handphone. Yeah, or you can actually go through the various services they will actually help you and connect with myself as well. So with that, any questions before I say thank you so much for your kind attention, and I hope that it has been helpful. Yeah. Any questions so far? No. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, lecturers, for bringing students here as well. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Nora, for being here.
Right. Thank you very much for a very insightful sharing session from Ms. Camelia Loh from Kabel. So, yeah, it's very insightful because before this, I haven't known that recruiter will scan your resume and match in with your LinkedIn account. But I'm proud to announce that I'm part of preparing you to have a LinkedIn account before you go for the internship. Right, so at least you know what is the LinkedIn platform is. The second thing is that finding a job is not only for, it's not you just need to get ready before you go for internship. For those who are listening to this talk, right, you are actually can perhaps prepare what you should prepare for the next movement. Again, for the SKM horizontal. Again, you should go through for the LinkedIn apps, Camel apps as well, right, to prepare yourself. Okay, which industry, again, the spa or any healthcare line that suits with your cost. Okay, so that is the most insightful sharing session from Ms. Camelia Loh, and all of us, please give a big round of applause to Ms. Camelia. Thank you very much. Okay, so before we end our session today, we will have a group photo session, okay, with Ms. Camelia, and after that,